next segment now, which is an oldie and a goodie, classic fill in the blank. So I'll present some statements, but there will be a word missing. There'll be a blank there, and myself and Pich will have to fill in that blank. I'll put forward the first one, and then I'll answer it because you just did a whole lot of talking. I need you to take a breath, get some H2O, and be ready to come back in just a moment, sir. The first fill in the blank. We had some big news with the Weltman and Hammond extensions. So this statement is, I feel blank about the Weltman-Hammond contract extensions. And I think I'm feeling aspirational. I'm feeling hopeful about these contract extensions. I've been very impressed overall with this front office and their tenure so far from 2017. You're not going to get every single one right, but I think on the whole, these guys have really put us in a pretty good position to succeed as a small market team that isn't the shining lights that is going to attract many superstars. We've really got to build, and I think that foundation is set. Just running through, some of their track history. 2017 was their first year. They selected J.I. That pick was looking really good, and I think we still think that is a very good pick. And he was a fringe defensive player of the year until he got injured. So you can't really argue with that one. They also selected in that draft Wes Iwundu, fan favorite. And then some guy, Anzech Podznikniks, 25th overall, who never played with us. We traded to Philly. That was just interesting. I just wanted to share that with everyone.
But did they make a card of him?
Yes. Well, we'll have to see and get back with a J on that one. Folks might also be interested that we traded that player to Philadelphia for a first-round pick that later became Tyrese Maxey and a second-round pick that became Yam Mater, who are kind of buzz names in the NBA right now. Other big moves. In 2018, we moved on from Elfrid Payton, traded him to the Suns for a second-round pick that later became Jared Vanderbilt. Jared Vanderbilt is starting power forward for the Timberwolves, having a very good year. I'm just throwing out these names. It's interesting to see where these picks that get traded back and forth actually become. And that's where I can kind of say, oh man, did they mess up? I mean, Tyrese Maxey's playing really well for the Philadelphia 76ers. Vanderbilt is a starter, giving really solid defense and rebounds. You could kind of fantasize about those guys being on the team, but that's not how it works. I'm not going to knock them for that.
I don't want to be that guy, but whenever I see that, my thought is, would we have picked him though?
Right. You never know. Well, we did pick the next year Mo Bamba, 6th. We'll see, how that pans out. But if there is an area to criticize, there he is, the rookie card. If there is an area to criticize, it would probably be this pick, because guys that were picked after him, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's just flirting at being an all-star and carrying Oklahoma City to every single win, scoring, upwards 20 to 30 points a game, just crushing it. A great point guard in this league, a great young point guard. They also passed up on Miles Bridges, who we are very well acquainted with at that point. Anthony Simons, who he played last night and is a exciting prospect as a guard. Gary Trent Jr. And we picked Jared Vanderbilt, but then traded him to Denver for Justin Jackson and Cody Martin. So that's the area where I'm like, I think we kind of missed that potentially. They signed Aaron Gordon. They were then able to get rid of, I know you're not happy with that one, but hold tight. We were able to get some assets when we traded them. So that actually, they turned that around. They got rid of the Bismack Biyombo contract. And that's when we sent Cody Martin out of town, and we brought in our beloved Timofey Mozgov, who's making $5 million this year. That's good luck for you, Timofey. 2019, I think this is where they really made their money, and this is where they kind of won me over and maybe some of the other Magic fans out there listening. We traded Jonathan Simmons, who we had just kind of signed as a free agent, whatever guy, maybe a year or so before, a second-round pick and that first-round pick that became Tyrese Maxey to the 76ers for Markelle Fultz. And I think with the way that Markelle Fultz has shown himself to be a legitimate point guard in this league, a top tier guy, good guy that could have all-star potential. I think we all look at that and say, stamp of approval, well done. Last year, then they picked Chuma Okeke 16, which was interesting because he just torn his ACL, but he looked like one of the best players in the tournament before he went down. And when he came back last year and had a really good year. I know he's been up and down, and we're not sure where we land on him at the moment, but I still think that that's a great pick. And the thing that was, I don't even know how they did this till this day. They convinced Chuma and his agent somehow to not sign his rookie contract until the next year. So normally a player gets drafted and they sign that same exact year. But essentially, I guess Weltman and Hammond were able to talk him into doing a redshirt year. I don't know how he was compensated. Yeah. Maybe the agent compensated him. I don't know. But he signed in 2020. He was drafted in 2019 and signed in 2020. So last year, even though it was his second year with the franchise, was his first year on his contract. So this is only his second year on his rookie scale. So we have 2 more years of Chuma on his rookie scale contract, which I think is just fantastic when you're looking forward to build out a franchise of young guys and see who's going to pop. It still could be Chuma, perhaps. Then last year, we drafted Cole at 15. I think that was an amazing pick. There's no one after him that even comes close to sniffing what Cole Anthony is accomplishing. And then 2021 is the year of it all. That we had the big trades, trading Vooch to the Bulls for just tremendous value. It sucked to see him go, but it was tough to argue with the results. You get WCJ back, who's been our probably most consistent player. And you get 2 first rounders, one of which becomes Franz. Oh yeah, that cements these guys for me and why I'm aspirational, why I'm hopeful. They picked number 8, where everyone was scratching their head, Franz Wagner, who's now in the top, leading the rookie of the year race. And then we also have a 2023 first round top 4 protected. Oh, there. And of course, yes, they also drafted Jalen Suggs, who we're going to talk about in a little bit as well. So overall, I think they've gotten great value for every move they've made. Really nothing to me that raises a crazy red flag. Their track history in Milwaukee makes me feel even better about what's happening in our beloved Orlando. And I think the future is bright for City Beautiful with these guys at the helm. How do you feel about the Weltman Hammond contract extensions, Pich?
Kyle has just set a record for the most information to not fill in the blank.
No, I filled in the blank. I filled it in.
I mean, you did. You just filled it in very hard, which is good because you're very passionate about it. And that's a very great breakdown of what they've done when they've been here. Not everything has been a hit, but if you have more hits than misses, it's good. I got to say, I feel optimistic about this. That's the word I'm going to use here. I love it when guys get a chance. It just doesn't happen that much anymore to build, because a lot of times a new coach comes in or a player comes in. If they don't work after a year or 2, they're out. And the same thing in front offices. It happens all the time. It's like they're giving them the time because they've done it before, and it does take a while, and it is a process. Not to pick on what the Sixers are touted for years, but they didn't just get good overnight. They suffered through some loss, some losing, and they developed. They ended up getting some superstars, and that's why they're good now. They built a team around it, and that's the same process that we're doing right now, and we're just not as far as they are, and that's okay. That's how this goes. We need one of those guys to break out and become that star and keep the drafting going, and in a couple of years, we'll be that Sixers team that's competing for the East. So I feel good about it. I'm glad they did it.
Yeah, I forgot some information, Pich. If you can believe that. Yeah, I left some out, if you can believe that. Bonus information. Well, I just wanted to
tell you about how he's more right.
I wanted to mention the coaching moves, though, too, because we didn't talk about that either. They send out Vogel, who is an experienced guy, but bring in Clifford, who is the exact right coach for that team, pushes all the right buttons, and we get to the playoffs. And then, they've brought in Jamal Mosley, who I'm very optimistic about. So I've liked all their player moves, and I've liked all their coaching moves. So we're giving them the Court Cousins 2 thumbs up.